This video is a special compilation of the wildest, dumbest, and most unbelievable deaths from our dumb ways people died. Darwin Awards Winners Series. We've collected over 100 of the best cases from previous episodes. Real stories where bad decisions, overconfidence, and pure bad luck ended in the worst possible way. Some of these will make you laugh, some will make you shake your head, and some will make you say, there's no way someone actually did that. These stories are true, they're shocking, and they prove one simple rule. Common sense is not as common as you think. Sit back, buckle up, and remember. This video is not advice. It's a reminder of what not to do. Let's begin. Number 1. Only in Florida can someone make a side hustle out of diving into an alligator-infested swamp for frisbees. That's right, this enterprising gentleman turned his weekends into a wet and wild treasure hunt, diving into murky waters to retrieve lost disc golf discs and resell them. You know, because nothing says eco-friendly entrepreneur like wading into a death trap for $3.50 per disc. Unfortunately for him, this wasn't just any lake. It was mating season, and one particularly amorous alligator decided he didn't like the competition. In a shocking twist no one could have predicted, except literally everyone, the gator chomped down and bit off his limbs. Apparently, reptiles aren't fans of capitalism. Let this be a lesson. If your business plan includes wild predators and zero safety gear, maybe it's time to rethink the pitch deck. Number 2. Meet Jenna, a 29-year-old beauty blogger who dreamed of going viral on Instagram. She decided that a regular hairdryer was for wimps. So she built a super dryer out of an old vacuum cleaner motor, a metal toaster housing, and a homemade heater made from wires she found in her garage. The idea? To create the most powerful hairdryer for the perfect hairstyle in 10 seconds. Jenna turned on her invention without checking the insulation of the wires. The result? A short circuit, sparks, and her super hairdryer turned into a fireball. Unfortunately, Jenna did not have time to turn off the device, and the fire engulfed her home studio. The firefighters arrived too late, and Instagram never saw her revolutionary hairstyle. Number 3. This Florida daredevil decided to reenact a James Bond stunt scene, except without the stunt crew, special effects, or common sense. Wearing only swim trunks and sneakers, because safety first, he pedaled full speed on his bicycle toward a rising drawbridge. His goal? To launch over the gap like it was the X Games. Reality had other plans. The front wheel caught the edge of the barrier mid-jump, turning this into a tragic and very literal face-off with Florida infrastructure. His bike made it across. He didn't. But hey, at least he proved once and for all that gravity still works in Florida. A Darwin Award, well earned for trying to go full Evel Knievel on a Schwinn. Number 4. Greta, a 34-year-old eco-activist, hated chemical cleaning products and decided to create a natural cleaner for the kitchen. She mixed vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and a few secret ingredients from the garden shed, including fertilizers containing nitrates. Greta believed that her mixture would make the kitchen eco-friendly, and at the same time, impress her zero-waste blog followers. While mixing in a closed plastic bottle, the mixture began to react, releasing gas. Greta, unaware of the danger, opened the bottle, and the explosion of chemicals caused a fire. Unfortunately, Greta did not survive, and her blog never got a post about the eco-revolution. Number 5. Let's set the scene. It's 2 a.m. A group of Florida thrill seekers breaks into a closed go-kart track. Because when you're bored in the Sunshine State, your brain turns into a SpongeBob episode. One man, clearly not content with Netflix and chill, grabs a go-kart and goes full Fast and Furious. No helmet, no lights, and no clue. He tears through the track in pitch black conditions and, surprise, smashes into a barrier at full speed. As the Darwin Awards curator aptly summed it up, pitch black plus no helmet plus speed equals predictable outcome. Florida logic at its finest. If the front gate's locked, clearly that's an invitation. Number 6. 31-year-old Carla, a fitness trainer, saw a video of jetpacks on water and decided she could make a cheaper version. She connected a garden hose, a pool pump, and plastic pipes to create a water jetpack for training in the pool. Her goal? To become a YouTube sensation with a fitness revolution. Carla did not take into account that the pump was not designed for such loads and that the pipes were poorly secured. During the test in the pool, the pump overheated and the hose broke off, hitting Carla with a high-pressure jet of water. She lost consciousness and drowned in the pool. Her friends, who were filming the video, did not have time to help. Number 7. There's taking tradition seriously, and then there's turning it into a Darwin audition. A 40-year-old lawyer decided that the official ice holes cut for Orthodox Epiphany just weren't authentic enough for her taste. So she stomped off to make her own personal hole in a frozen river. Because who needs safety measures when you have confidence in a parka? She dove in, the ice gave way, and the river swallowed her whole. No resurfacing, no dramatic rescue, just a one-way trip to the icy depths of the gene pool. Apparently, Mother Nature wasn't impressed with her DIY baptism. When your last legal case is against hypothermia, let's just say you're not winning that appeal. Number 8. We've all seen reckless drivers texting, eating tacos, or shaving behind the wheel. But this lady decided to level up the stupidity scale. Mid-drive, she thought the world needed a live-streamed shot of the passing scenery. She leaned out of the moving car, smartphone in hand, probably thinking this was her viral moment. Gravity, however, went viral first. She lost her balance and never made it back into the car. The video ended before the drive did. And let's just say her next big feature was a funeral home slideshow. Moral of the story: when chasing internet clout, maybe don't let physics unfollow you. Number 9. You know those signs at zoos that say, "Do not enter animal enclosures"? Turns out they're not just decorative. A woman jumped into a predator cage to show dominance, apparently mistaking lions for overgrown house cats. Spoiler alert, the animals disagreed violently. Witnesses say she strutted in, tried to make herself look big, and then nature reminded her who the apex predator really was. The Darwin Awards technically disqualified this one because she put others in danger too, but the sheer audacity earns her a Lifetime Achievement Award in bad decision-making. PSA, if you want to go viral at a zoo, just buy a balloon animal. Number 10. The elevator selfie. A harmless trend until someone cranks it to 11 on the stupidity scale. This woman thought a picture of an open elevator shaft mid-ride would really spice up her feed. She manually opened the doors, posed, and stepped forward. Except there was no elevator there. Just a dark, empty shaft. She got the falling aesthetic shot she wanted, but not the likes she was hoping for. Maybe, just maybe, waiting for the next floor would have been the smarter choice. Turns out gravity is undefeated in the Darwin Awards League. Number 11. Forklifts are heavy, dangerous machines, not a carnival ride. But this woman decided she could stop a tipping forklift by grabbing onto it with her bare hands. Because apparently, human strength trumps hydraulics and 2 tons of steel. Witnesses say it went about as well as you'd expect. She got pulled under instead of playing hero. Brave? Maybe. Foolish? Absolutely. If you're ever tempted to outmuscle industrial equipment, here's a tip. Don't. The forklift will always win. And you'll just make it onto a Darwin Awards list like this one. Number 12. Only in Florida do you survive an alligator bite and still manage to make it worse. This 38-year-old Florida man was allegedly bitten while trespassing near a swamp. Most folks would limp home, ice their leg, and rethink life choices. Not this guy. He went full rodeo outlaw, running wild through the neighborhood, stealing a pair of garden shears like he was starring in a low-budget Mad Max remake, and attempting to break into a police car. When cops finally confronted him, he shrugged off multiple taser hits like a swamp superhero before getting fatally shot. Darwin says surviving a gator bite is already winning the lottery. Spending that ticket on chaos? That's natural selection speedrunning its job. Number 13. Yes, this isn't technically Florida, but if the Sunshine State had inner-city trains, this could have happened in Miami. A 22-year-old aspiring influencer climbed on top of a moving train for the perfect rooftop selfie. Problem? Those big wires above aren't Christmas lights. They're carrying 25,000 volts. One touch and poof, he got a viral post all right, but mostly on Darwin Awards Live. The moral? Electricity travels faster than hashtags. When your last thought is, this will get likes, nature's filter kicks in and unsubscribes you permanently. Number 14. Florida drivers have a well-earned reputation for ignoring basic road laws, but this guy decided train versus his car would be a fair race. With his license already suspended, big surprise, he zipped around lowered crossing barriers like he was auditioning for Fast and Furious Tampa Drift. Spoiler alert, a freight train does not yield. The car got pancaked, physics won, and Darwin added another Florida special to the list. If patience is a virtue, Florida man treats it like a restraining order, something to be violated for no reason. Number 15. This one's straight out of a cartoon. A man stepped out of his van to open a gate, leaving his dog in the front seat. Somehow, Fido pawed the gear shift, sending the van rolling forward, right over its owner. Witnesses say it looked like a Looney Tunes episode, but with a tragic ending. And no, the dog didn't get a DUI. The human didn't live to explain it. Lesson learned. If you trust your dog more than a parking brake, Darwin might just take you for a walk you won't return from. Number 16. Only in Florida does someone think, you know what would make a great pet? A dinosaur with knives for feet. A man in Gainesville kept a cassowary, one of the most dangerous birds alive, on his property. One day it turned on him, delivering a swift, deadly kick that severed an artery. Nature doesn't mess around when you keep prehistoric murder chickens as pets. Darwin says, if you treat a 6-foot bird that can gut you like a house cat, don't be shocked when it rearranges your insides. Number 17. Meet Jake, a 26-year-old TikTok dreamer from Tampa who wanted to make Mother Nature his personal cinematographer. During a Florida thunderstorm that roared like a monster truck rally, Jake decided rain-soaked selfies were for amateurs. His big plan? Scramble onto his roof with a shiny metal selfie stick to capture a lightning bolt in the background for the ultimate viral pic. This is gonna break the internet, he yelled to neighbors who were screaming at him to get down. Picture Jake posing like he's auditioning for Avengers, waving his selfie stick like a wizard's wand, when zap, A lightning bolt decided to make him the star of its own show. One blinding flash later, Jake was out of the content game for good, and his phone took a nosedive off the roof. No TikTok fame, just a one-way ticket to Darwinville. Jake, buddy, lightning ain't your hype, man. Wanna go viral? Film your dog in a raincoat, not yourself with a metal stick in a storm. Who thought a selfie stick was a lightning magnet? Number 18. Say howdy to Melanie, a 29-year-old Telegram warrior from Mobile who thought she could outsmart science with a party. Convinced her immune system was tougher than a linebacker, Melanie threw a COVID party at her parents' house, inviting friends to catch the virus on purpose to prove natural immunity. She hyped it up on social media, calling it the Freedom Challenge. Picture a packed living room, folks dancing, hugging, passing drinks like it's 2019, while Melanie grinned into her phone. Masks are for suckers. We're immunity champs. Spoiler, the virus had other plans. A week later, Melanie was in the ICU with a severe case of COVID, and her party ended with a permanent RSVP to Darwin's guest list. Her video never made it to TikTok, but it sure made headlines. Melanie, viruses don't RSVP to your party. Want to do a challenge? Try a Netflix marathon, not a germ fest. Who thought you could fist bump a virus into submission? Number 19. Enter Arif, a 31-year-old German tourist with dreams of becoming the next Mr. Beast of extreme stunts. His master plan? Tie himself to a budget drone from an online marketplace and film a drone jump over a jaw-dropping Bali beach. Arif rigged up some sketchy ropes, slapped on a parachute made from a hotel bedsheet, and shouted, "This is gonna be epic!" as he hit the launch button. The drone buzzed like a lawnmower on its last legs, barely hauling him 15 meters up before it said, "Nope," and crashed. Arif plummeted onto a rocky shore, turning his YouTube dreams into a Darwin nightmare. Local fishermen heard the drone's pathetic hum but couldn't reach him in time. Arif, drones are for scenic shots, not human Uber. Wanna fly? Book a plane, not a bedsheet. Even Elon Musk is facepalming at your DIY aerospace. Number 20. Meet Kayla, a 27-year-old fitness blogger from Austin who saw the TikTok Fire Challenge and thought, I can make this bigger. The challenge involves pouring flammable liquid on yourself, lighting it, and putting it out fast for clout. Kayla decided her garage was the perfect stage for this fiery stunt. She grabbed a bottle of isopropyl alcohol, missing the open gas can from a recent lawnmower cleanup. Picture her striking a match, posing like a superhero, and boom! The garage turned into a Mad Max explosion scene. The fire jumped to the gas can, and Kayla's viral dreams went up in smoke, literally. Her TikTok never saw the light of day, but her story became the talk of the town. Kayla, fire challenges don't belong in garages. Want to glow up? Try glitter, not gasoline. TikTok fame ain't worth becoming a human sparkler. Number 21. Say hola to Miguel, a 34-year-old Mexican tourist chasing thrills at the San Fermin Bull Run. Instead of sprinting with the pack, Miguel had a brighter idea. Pause mid-chase for an Instagram selfie with a 600-kilo bull charging behind him. On a narrow street packed with runners, he waved his phone like a matador's cape, yelling, "This is for the gram!" The bull, not a fan of social media, plowed through him faster than you can say, #epic. Miguel's selfie never posted, but his stunt earned him a permanent spot in Darwin's highlight reel. Locals say he wasn't the first to misjudge a bull's mood, but he sure made it memorable. Miguel, bulls don't pose for selfies. Want to snap a pic? Try a petting zoo. Bulls don't like your posts, they charge. Number 22. Meet Sophia, a 28-year-old yoga influencer from California who wanted to take her Instagram to Nirvana. While scouting Zen locations along Big Sur's cliffs, Sophia decided a rocky ledge 200 feet above the Pacific was the perfect spot for a viral yoga video. Picture her setting up her tripod, striking a perfect tree pose, and chanting Namaste as waves crashed below. Her plan? Film a sunrise flow to inspire inner peace. The universe had other ideas. A gust of wind threw off her balance, and Sophia's Zen moment ended with a not-so-Zen tumble into the ocean. Her tripod caught the whole thing, but the footage never made it to Instagram. Sophia's quest for likes earned her a permanent spot in Darwin's meditation hall. Number 23. Enter Travis, a 30-year-old mechanic from Reno who dreamed of breaking the internet with a backyard stunt. Inspired by old Jackass episodes, Travis built a rocket sled using a shopping cart, some firework rockets, and duct tape. Because why not? He set up his contraption on a frozen hill, strapped himself in, and lit the fuses, yelling, "This is for YouTube glory!" The rockets fired, sending Travis zooming down the hill, straight into a tree. The cart crumpled, and Travis's stunt career ended before it began. His GoPro captured every second, but the only thing going viral was his Darwin Award. Number 24. Say hi to Carlos, a 32-year-old Florida man who thought he could out-wrestle the Everglades' finest. After a few beers at a swamp bar, Carlos bet his buddies he could take on an alligator like a pro wrestler. He spotted a 10-foot gator near a canal, dove in, and tried to channel his inner Steve Irwin. Picture him yelling, "I got this!" as he grabbed the gator's tail. Spoiler, the gator wasn't in the mood for a smackdown. Carlos learned the hard way that alligators don't follow WWE scripts. And his wrestling match ended with a Darwin Award pin. Number 25. Meet Vanessa, a 25-year-old party planner from Miami who wanted to make her rooftop bash the talk of the town. During a 4th of July rager, Vanessa decided to up the ante by diving from her condo's roof into an inflatable pool 3 stories below. "It's just like a diving board," she slurred to her friends who cheered her on. Picture her running across the roof, leaping like an Olympic diver, only to miss the pool and land on the patio. The party ended with sirens instead of fireworks, and Vanessa's splash earned her a spot in Darwin's pool party. Number 26. Say hello to Ethan, a 29-year-old thrill seeker who wanted to kick off 2025 with a bang, literally. At a New Year's Eve block party, Ethan strapped a backpack full of illegal fireworks to his back, thinking he'd light up the night like a human sparkler. He lit the fuses, shouting, "Watch me glow," as neighbors screamed. The fireworks didn't wait for his grand finale, exploding mid-stride and turning Ethan's stunt into a Darwin Award spectacle. His GoPro caught the chaos, but the only thing trending was his exit from the gene pool. Number 1. In sunny California, a man decided to eliminate a wasp nest by combining 2 things: a vacuum cleaner and a can of aerosol insecticide. He figured he'd suck the wasps in and spray them into oblivion at the same time. Problem solved, right? Not quite. See, aerosol cans contain flammable gas, and vacuum motors get hot. Real hot. Like spontaneous combustion hot. Mid-operation, his vacuum cleaner turned into a flamethrower. The result? A small explosion, singed eyebrows, and a destroyed garage. The wasps survived. The man didn't. Nature won. Humans with bad ideas 0. Number 2. Because nothing says Texan innovation like strapping explosive to plumbing supplies, one man in rural Texas decided to build a cannon out of steel pipes, duct tape, and black powder. His goal to hunt deer. Like a patriot with no concept of ballistics, the cannon did fire. Unfortunately, the chamber couldn't handle the pressure and exploded on the first shot. Shrapnel flew everywhere, and the hunter became the hunted by physics. No deer were harmed in the making of this disaster, only egos and internal organs. Number 3. In a bid to revolutionize fishing, an Oregon man created a homemade device that sent electrical pulses into water to stun fish for easy collection. Great idea in theory, if you're a Bond villain. He even connected it to a folding lawn chair so he could relax while zapping the fish into submission. What he failed to consider was that electricity and water tend to interact enthusiastically. During a trial run by the lake, he leaned over to adjust a wire, touched an exposed conductor, and received 220 volts straight through his body. On the bright side, he did catch a few fish with his face. Number 4. A Canadian man, inspired either by extreme frugality or pure delusion, decided to test his DIY survival skills. He believed he could create a parachute using a few old bedsheets, some rope, and what one can only describe as misplaced confidence. His engineering consisted of tying the sheets together and jumping off a 10-story apartment building without any prior test run. Maybe he thought gravity was polite in Canada. Spoiler, the parachute didn't work. It flapped uselessly in the wind as he plummeted straight to the ground. Emergency services arrived quickly, but they could only confirm what physics had already proven. Cotton sheets do not a parachute make. Number 5. In what might be the most literal interpretation of Fast and Furious, a man in the Arizona desert decided his old Chevrolet needed just a little more horsepower. So naturally, he strapped a decommissioned JATO rocket to the trunk. You know, the kind used on military jets. He figured he'd break a speed record, or at least beat traffic. According to observers, i.e. the one friend brave enough to watch, the car launched down a straight desert road, accelerating so fast that it became airborne within seconds. Unfortunately, the driver forgot 2 minor details: brakes and steering. The Chevy went full Wile E. Coyote, soaring uncontrollably, crashing headfirst into a cliff and creating a crater so perfect it could be mistaken for government testing. There were no survivors, but hey, at least he got to take off one last time. Number 6. Of course, this happened in Florida. A man named Ricky, whose only engineering credential was a YouTube playlist called Stuff That Shouldn't Fly, decided that his riding lawnmower was destined for the skies. With the help of duct tape, sheer delusion, and a propeller stolen from a boat, he transformed his lawn equipment into a prototype aircraft. The problem? Liftoff. Or more accurately, the lack of it. He gave it full throttle on a plywood ramp, reached 15 miles per hour, and flipped spectacularly. The propeller, still spinning, smacked him right in the head. Ricky's final words, allegedly, "It was working until it wasn't." He dreamed of flying, and now, who knows, maybe he's finally airborne, just not in the way he hoped. Number 7. The good old British spirit of innovation. Our next contestant thought the best use for leftover propane tanks and some metal pipes was building a homemade jetpack. He wasn't a physicist, but he had seen Iron Man 17 times. So basically a professional, right? During his test flight, which consisted of standing in a field behind a pub, he ignited the device and actually took off for about 3 seconds. Then he veered straight into a tree head first. Locals said it was the most exciting thing to happen in town since a cow wandered into the pharmacy. Darwin Award, well deserved for thinking propane and flight were a smart mix. Number 8. Meet Carl. Tired of break ins, he decided to protect his house with science. He rigged up a magnetic burglar trap involving copper wire, magnets, and a healthy disregard for basic electrical safety. Think Home Alone meets Frankenstein's lab, except he forgot to label the off switch. While testing his device, Carl accidentally triggered the current. Zap! He fried himself on the spot like a frozen burrito in a faulty microwave. Ironically, his house hasn't been broken into since, because no one wants to rob the haunted, booby-trapped home of the electrocuted guy. Number 9. This next one is international, but just too jaw-dropping to skip. Pun fully intended. A chemistry student wanted to test how citric acid reacts with some white powder he thought was harmless. Turns out it wasn't citric acid, it was an industrial-grade explosive. He dipped chewing gum in the mix and shoved it in his mouth. Boom! Bye-bye lower jaw. The lab ceiling also sustained minor damage. Doctors called it one of the most preventable accidents we've ever seen. His classmates now check labels twice, or just chew mint instead. Number 10. An Aussie inventor, possibly fueled by cheap beer and Finding Nemo, decided to build a submarine out of, you guessed it, plastic barrels, garden hose, and good vibes. He called it the Aqua Kangaroo. It was neither waterproof nor kangaroo friendly. He launched into a local lake, descended about 4 feet, and then physics happened. Water poured in, panic ensued, and he found himself trapped in his homemade coffin. Emergency services found him hours later, still inside the sunken mess. Lesson: if it looks like trash, floats like trash, and smells like trash, it's not a submarine. Number 11. A Brazilian genius who looked at 5 flights of stairs and thought, nah, I'll invent vertical teleportation. Armed with nothing but a dream, some old rope, and a washing machine motor that definitely wasn't up to code, he built a homemade elevator outside his apartment building. Now, if you're thinking, surely he tested it without getting inside first, you clearly haven't met this guy. On its maiden voyage, the elevator lifted him a few floors before the ropes. Surprise! Snapped like overcooked spaghetti. Gravity did its thing. Witnesses say the sound was like a dropped piano. His invention did get him to the ground floor, just not in one piece. Number 12. Next up, a French innovator whose plumbing was a little clogged, and apparently so was his judgment. After trying every commercial drain cleaner and probably a baguette or two, he decided to make his own high-powered solution. And by solution, I mean explosives. That's right. He crafted a homemade pipe bomb to fix a clog. He dropped the device into the pipe, stepped back, and boom, the clog was gone. So was half the bathroom. And unfortunately, the inventor. Emergency services arrived to find a crater where a sink used to be. Moral of the story? Plumbers exist for a reason. Number 13. In Germany, one man decided that flying drones just weren't manly enough. So naturally, he attached drone propellers to a gasoline-powered lawnmower. Why, you ask? Because he wanted to create a super drone, capable of mowing lawns from the sky. You know, in case your grass is growing vertically. He powered it up, stood underneath it, because safety is for amateurs, and watched his Frankenmower rise into the air and promptly lose all stability. The flying machine spun like a blender and crash landed right on its proud creator. The only thing it successfully trimmed was his dignity. and possibly a few vital organs. Number 14. Here's one from South Africa that combines innovation with terrible timing. A man there built a concealed firearm that looked exactly like a regular ballpoint pen. Impressive, right? James Bond would have been proud. But here's where it goes sideways. He decided to show it off to his buddies in a bar. Naturally, he pressed it to his own temple as a joke to prove it wasn't real. Except, it was very real and very loaded. Let's just say the demonstration ended the conversation and everything else. If he'd stuck to writing about guns instead of building them, he might have made it to dessert. Number 15. And now we head to Russia, where a man's YouTube binge of science documentaries gave him a dangerous amount of confidence. He believed he could construct a functioning nuclear reactor in his garage with parts he salvaged from a junkyard. Yes, really. Wearing nothing more protective than a windbreaker and a headlamp, he assembled radioactive materials into what he described as a power source for the people. What he actually created was a health hazard with a Geiger counter that sounded like a rave. Weeks later, he checked into a hospital with severe radiation poisoning and never checked out. Officials found his reactor still humming in the garage. The neighbors now glow in the dark. Just kidding, probably. Number 16. Our journey into the world of inspired idiocy continues in India, where one man asked, "What if I turned a gas cylinder into a fuel tank for a bicycle?" And by gas, we don't mean gasoline. We mean a pressurized cooking gas cylinder, the kind that's usually nowhere near moving parts, sparks, or dreams. With zero regard for physics or his continued survival, he strapped the gas tank to the bike frame and wired it up. The plan? Use the gas to power a small engine. The reality? A spark from the motor met the highly flammable gas, and the whole contraption exploded like a low-budget film. The bike was vaporized, and so was any hope of this guy ever winning Inventor of the Year. Number 17. Next up, in Poland, a man decided the sky was the limit. Literally. He crafted a homemade paraglider out of plastic shopping bags and wooden planks. You read that right. His dream of flight was powered by the same materials used to carry groceries and make birdhouses. Against all odds and common sense, he actually got airborne. Briefly, about 50 meters, roughly 160 feet into the air, the wings shredded like wet napkins. Witnesses said the descent was graceful at first, then loud. Authorities described the event as a fatal misunderstanding of aerodynamics. Lesson: if your flight gear comes from a dollar store, maybe keep your feet on the ground. Number 18. Now let's go fishing. Explosively. In Thailand, a local fisherman had clearly grown tired of patience and bait. Instead, he whipped up a homemade underwater bomb, hoping to stun fish for easy collection. What he forgot, though, was basic positioning. See, he was already in the water when he tossed the bomb in. Shockingly, pun intended, it went off exactly as planned, only a little too close to the operator. Fish were stunned, so were nearby swimmers. And the fisherman, he went belly up faster than his intended catch. He did catch something, though, a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Number 19. Over in Mexico, a would-be diver decided scuba gear was overpriced and corporate nonsense. So, naturally, he built his own underwater suit using plastic bottles and a garden hose. Why? Because nothing says deep-sea safety like materials found at a recycling center and Home Depot. He strapped the bottles to his body for buoyancy and ran a hose from his mouth to the surface for air. Seems foolproof, right? Except for the part where water pressure, air compression, and basic physics exist. The hose slipped out mid-dive, and without proper air or flotation, he went down and didn't come back up. On the plus side, his commitment to recycling is now eternal. Number 20, we head into the wilds of Canada, where one hunter got very creative about wildlife defense. His idea: build a homemade explosive trap to deter bears. Nothing says welcome to nature like landmines. Using wires, gunpowder, and sheer recklessness, he set up his invention in a forest clearing. But while setting the trap, he accidentally triggered it. Turns out rigging explosives in the woods without a manual is a terrible idea. Authorities later said it was unclear what was more dangerous, the bears or this guy. To his credit, no bears were harmed. Just the man who wanted to outsmart them. And frankly, the bears are probably still laughing. Number 21. Chen, a 32-year-old local fireworks enthusiast, dreamed of flying to the stars and becoming famous as a folk inventor. He assembled a rocket from metal pipes purchased at a junkyard and dozens of fireworks tied together. His plan was simple: launch himself a few meters above the field, record it on video, and post it online. Chen used a homemade remote detonator to activate the fireworks and tied himself to the structure with seat belts from an old car. During launch, the rocket exploded due to an unstable mixture of gunpowder and improper placement of the tubes. Debris flew dozens of meters, and Chen suffered fatal injuries from the explosion and fire. Local residents reported that before the disaster, he shouted, "This will be legendary!" Number 22. 28-year-old Marco, a self-proclaimed physics genius, read up on pseudo-scientific forums about anti-gravity. He decided to create a device that would neutralize gravity using magnets and high-voltage current. In his garage, Marco assembled a structure made of powerful electromagnets, old transformers, and wires connected to a homemade 10,000-volt generator. His idea was to lift the metal platform on which he was standing. During the first test, Marco did not take into account that the wires were not insulated and that the magnets created an unstable electromagnetic field. When he turned on the device, he was electrocuted and the platform caught fire due to a short circuit. Neighbors found him already dead. In his notebook, Marco left notes about a revolution in transportation. Number 23. 35-year-old Bobby, a DIY enthusiast, decided to convert an old lawnmower into a motorcycle to impress his friends. He welded additional pipes to the lawnmower frame, installed a seat from an office chair, and attached wheels from a cart. The engine remained original, but Bobby added a homemade turbocharger from a compressed air cylinder. During a test drive on a country road, the design could not withstand the vibrations. The frame cracked and the front wheel fell off. Bobby lost control and crashed into a tree at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. The police noted that a helmet could have saved him, but Bobby believed that real cowboys don't wear helmets. Number 24. 40-year-old Sergey found an old safe in his grandfather's garage that would not open. Instead of calling a locksmith, he decided to use homemade explosives made from gunpowder, from hunting cartridges, and fireworks fuses. Sergey placed the explosives inside the safe through a crack and lit the fuse, believing that a controlled explosion would open the lock. The explosion turned out to be much more powerful than he expected. The safe door flew off and the debris pierced the garage wall and Sergey himself. Neighbors reported that before the explosion, he shouted, "Now it'll be like in the movies!" Incidentally, the safe contained only old documents. Number 25. 29-year-old Jake, a speed enthusiast, decided to upgrade his old boat by attaching a Yamaha motorcycle engine to it. He welded the engine to the wooden deck and added a homemade propeller made from a metal barrel. Jake believed this would make his boat the fastest on the coast. During the first test on the lake, the boat accelerated to an unexpectedly high speed, but the wooden structure could not withstand the vibrations. The boat capsized, and Jake, who was not wearing a life jacket, became entangled in the debris and drowned. Local fishermen tried to save him, but it was too late. Number 26. Meet Rahul, a 30-year-old modern Aladdin who decided that the 21st century needed an updated version of the flying carpet. Forget magic. Rahul took the path of science, or rather, pseudoscience. In his shed, he assembled a flying carpet from an old rug, straight from his grandmother's living room, 4 industrial fans, and a battery from an electric scooter. His plan? To fly over his neighbor's yard and become a TikTok star. Rahul turned the fans on full blast, holding onto a homemade frame, which, by the way, was held together with duct tape and prayers. But instead of flying, the carpet caught fire from an overheated battery. And Rahu, trying to extinguish the fire, got tangled up in the wires and received a fatal electric shock. Neighbors say he shouted, "I am the king of the sky," right before his dream was knocked out. Rahul, my friend, if you want to fly, buy a plane ticket. Or at least read the instructions for the fans. Spoiler, they are not for flying. Number 27. 27-year-old Kenji, the self-proclaimed Mr. Underwater Elon Musk, decided that diving was boring and that real heroes swim with their own gadgets. His ingenious idea: a homemade underwater scooter made of plastic pipes, an old electric motor from a washing machine, and a, well, almost waterproof battery container. Kenji planned to race underwater like in a James Bond movie and film it on a GoPro. During his first dive to a depth of 10 meters, the plastic pipes cracked, the battery container flooded, and the motor shorted out. Kenji got tangled up in the hoses of his own scooter and couldn't surface. Rescuers got him out, but unfortunately, the Bond show ended without a sequel. Number 28. Meet Harry, a 42-year-old gardener with attitude who hated weeds more than taxes. Instead of buying herbicide at the nearest store, Harry decided to create the ultimate lawn cleaner, a mixture of gasoline, fireworks powder, and a fuse from an old firecracker. His plan? To blow up the weeds in his backyard and impress his neighbors at the same time. Harry poured the mixture over the lawn, lit the fuse, and boom! The explosion caused a fire that engulfed the entire yard, the shed, and Harry himself. The neighbors called the fire department, but Harry had already passed into the state of eternal lawn. The police found his notebook with the inscription, "Weeds, 0, Harry, 1. Well, Harry, it seems the score is a little different. Harry, brother, there is such an invention, a lawnmower. And if you like explosions so much, watch Rambo instead of staging it in your yard. Number 29. Trevor, a 35-year-old sci-fi and DIY enthusiast, decided he needed his own personal robot assistant, like in Star Wars. Without the money for a real robot, or any knowledge of robotics, he assembled a structure out of metal plates, sharp blades, because it looks cool, and a motor from an old vacuum cleaner. His robot was supposed to serve beer from the refrigerator. Cool, right? During a test in his garage, Trevor turned on the robot, but didn't take into account that the motor was unstable and the blades were poorly secured. The robot began to move chaotically, scattering debris, and eventually inflicted fatal injuries on Trevor. Neighbors heard cries of, "He's alive!" But unfortunately, it wasn't HAL 9000. just a pile of scrap metal with dreams of greatness. Number 1. Ah, the irresistible pull of TikTok fame. In sunny San Diego, a 25-year-old woman decided that spinning flaming batons soaked in gasoline was just the content her followers needed. Because nothing says watch me go viral like juggling literal firebombs next to your face. Armed with zero training, a backyard full of flammable things, and a playlist of electronic dance music, she hit record. It was all fun and games. Until her third spin turned her into a walking s'more. The fire whooshed from baton to hair to tank top, and poof, she was a human sparkler. Emergency services arrived, but Darwin had already left a comment. Natural selection like this. Word to the wise, if you're going to dance with fire, at least get a fire extinguisher and not just Instagram filters. Number 2. Next up, the pursuit of the perfect Instagram shot. A tale as old as the internet. Our 28-year-old heroine from Portland decided that standing on the very edge of a scenic cliff would give her that jaw-dropping influencer-grade photo. The kind with 7K likes and a caption like living on the edge. Well, she was. Literally. Backing up slowly for just the right angle, holding out her phone like Simba from The Lion King, she didn't notice the loose gravel at her feet. One wrong step, and whoosh, she took the express route to the bottom of the canyon. The selfie didn't survive, but the Darwin Award committee sure noticed. Remember, cliffs and clout don't mix. Maybe try a green screen next time. Number 3. YouTube has taught us many things. How to bake banana bread, how to fix a leaky faucet, and apparently, how not to build rockets. A 30-year-old woman in Reno figured she'd become the next Elon Musk by crafting her very own rocket using, you guessed it, firework powder and a YouTube tutorial with 300 views in broken English. She rigged the contraption in her backyard with some duct tape, PVC pipe, and blind optimism. The launch lasted 0.3 seconds before the whole thing exploded like the 4th of July in a broom closet. Bits of rocket, lawn chair, and bad decisions were scattered in all directions. Her channel never hit 1,000 subscribers, but hey, Darwin subscribed instantly. Number 4. Deep in the heart of Houston, a 27-year-old vape enthusiast set out to win the biggest cloud TikTok challenge. You know, because inhaling superheated chemicals isn't dangerous enough, let's mod the vape with extra butane for maximum fog machine effect. She tweaked, rewired, and fueled her device until it looked like something the Ghostbusters would carry. The final inhale was impressive. The exhale? Never happened. The vape exploded in her hand, launching her phone across the room and her into a smoking crater of oops. Doctors couldn't save her, but Darwin tipped his fedora. Maybe don't treat a vape pen like a flamethrower, folks. Number 5. And now, Florida. Where else? A 26-year-old woman live streamed herself for Instagram, taking a dare to jump off a scenic Miami bridge into the bay below. Fun, right? Well, except for the small detail that the water was just a few feet deep. Spoiler alert, water doesn't cushion like it does in cartoons. The impact was bone-shattering, and her camera captured the splash and the silence that followed. Viewers were horrified. EMS arrived too late. But on the plus side, Darwin loves user-generated content. Lesson here? Before you leap for likes, check the depth. Or better yet, don't leap at all. Number 6. Atlanta, home of peaches, trap music, and apparently Darwin-level stunts. A 24-year-old woman decided that driving her car was just too mainstream. So for Snapchat, she climbed out the window, stood on the roof, and let the car coast while she surfed it like she was in Fast and Furious Atlanta Drift. Unfortunately, cars aren't surfboards. Gravity always wins, and Darwin never sleeps. One unexpected speed bump later, she flew off the hood like a rag doll in a wind tunnel and hit the pavement with all the grace of a dropped bowling ball. The car? It rolled gently into a mailbox. She earned her golden ticket to the Darwin Awards. Pro tip: if you're on a vehicle, be inside it, not on top. Especially if your driver's license says human, not stunt woman. Number 7, TikTok fitness challenges, where common sense goes to die. A 29-year-old Brooklyn woman figured she could go viral by doing a backflip off a running treadmill. Because nothing screams cardio queen like gymnastics on rotating rubber. Spoiler, physics had other plans. She landed like a lawn dart, headfirst. The sound was somewhere between a coconut cracking and a bowling pin strike. By the time her roommate came in, the TikTok was still recording. And so was the regret. Paramedics called it death by gym equipment. The rest of us call it don't try acrobatics on moving objects. Just jog, girl. Or maybe do yoga. It's safer, and the pants are still cute. Number 8, Columbus, a city that gave us the vacuum cleaner. And apparently, the idea to ignore all basic electrical safety. A 31-year-old woman decided she wanted hot tub glam for TikTok. Full makeup, styled hair, and yes, you guessed it, a plugged-in hairdryer poolside. She perched the hairdryer on the hot tub's edge while adjusting her angle for that relaxed beauty queen look. But one splash too many, and zap. Instant electricity meets warm water. Darwin didn't even have to stand up for this one. Friends later told reporters she was trying to look like a goddess. She succeeded, if the goddess was Medusa and the hairdryer was her downfall. Here's a tip. If you're near water, drop the electronics. And if you must do your hair in a jacuzzi, no, wait, just don't. Ever. Number 9, Las Vegas, City of Lights, bad decisions, and now spontaneous combustion. A 27-year-old woman tried to one-up a viral challenge by doing 3 flaming shots in a row for her YouTube channel. The plan: pour high-proof alcohol, light it, drink it, and look cool. The reality: she misjudged the pour, spilled alcohol down her arm, and when the fire hit, whoosh! Up she went like a tiki torch on prom night. Bar patrons screamed, drinks flew, and someone used a beer towel to slap her flames out. But by then, Darwin had already added her to the year's highlight reel. Want a drink that's safe, dramatic, and fire-free? It's called sparkling water. No ignition required. Number 10. Denver is known for outdoor adventure. But when you take do-it-yourself too literally, it becomes do-yourself-in. A 32-year-old woman thought it'd be epic to film a backyard zipline ride for her Instagram followers. Problem: she built the zipline out of, wait for it, a clothesline. With zero engineering skills, she tied one end to a tree and the other to a fence post. Then she climbed a ladder, gave a confident "here we go" shout, and launched. The clothesline held for 0.8 seconds before snapping like cheap spaghetti. She plummeted into a kiddie pool, snapping her phone, her pride, and unfortunately, her neck. The video got 1.2 million views before being taken down. The zipline got upgraded to yellow police tape. If you want zipline thrills, go to a park. Don't trust your laundry setup with your life. Number 11. Los Angeles. City of trends, juice cleanses, and people who believe natural means safe. A 28-year-old aspiring TikTok health influencer decided she'd had enough of boring detox teas Nope. She went full-blown cleanse and downed a bleach cocktail on camera. Why? Because some conspiracy blog said bleach clears the soul. Well, it cleared her organs, too. With dramatic flair, she raised a mason jar labeled the ultimate cleanse, smiled at the ring light, and chugged. The next shot, EMTs hauling her out as the comment section flooded with OMG, is this real? And bleach. Girl, no. One user simply wrote, she gone. Darwin Award. Served straight, no chaser. Bleach is for whitening socks, not internal enlightenment. If your detox glows in the dark, maybe skip it. Or just eat a salad. Number 12. Austin, where weird is celebrated, but sometimes it crosses into flat out dumb. A 26-year-old woman wanted to go viral by surfing a riding lawnmower downhill. Because obviously, nothing says influencer energy like extreme landscaping. She rigged up a GoPro, shouted, "Let's shred!" and let gravity do its worst. The mower gained speed. Her balance? Not so much. At about 20 miles per hour, it hit a bump, launched her like a rag doll, and kept going solo into a fence. Her? Flat as a Texas prairie. Turns out lawnmowers don't have brakes for stunts, and grass isn't soft at high speeds. She died doing what she loved, ignoring warning labels. And the Darwin Award judges? They were probably sipping sweet tea, nodding in approval. Number 13. Of course, it's Florida. A 29-year-old in Orlando decided the store-bought fireworks weren't extra enough for her 4th of July TikTok. So she made her own by mixing gunpowder from spare shells in a metal pipe. Safety gear? Please. She had glitter, with patriotic music blasting and a sparkler between her teeth. She lit the fuse on her freedom cannon. Unfortunately, her creation went off faster than a Florida Man headline. The explosion rocked the neighborhood and sent her to the stars. Literally. Pieces of her backyard were found in 3 different yards. DIY fireworks are like a chemistry class without the safety goggles or the degree. Fire plus hubris equals kaboom. Her TikTok, it did go viral. Caption, boom, followed by a moment of silence. Number 14. Desert heat does things to the brain. A 24-year-old in Tucson found a rattlesnake while hiking and thought, you know what this needs? A kiss for Instagram. This was not a metaphorical kiss. She puckered up, leaned in, and smooch. Bam! Snake did not swipe right. She was found unconscious, lips swollen like a botched filler injection, venom pulsing through her system. Despite anti-venom, she didn't make it. But her selfie did, captioned, "Me in danger. Darwin was watching." And applauding. Pro tip, if something hisses and rattles, don't flirt with it. This isn't the Bachelor Wildlife Edition. Take a picture from a distance. Or better, just take a rock and go home. Number 15. Savannah, a city known for charm, mossy oaks, and now impact craters in front yards. A 27-year-old was dared on TikTok Live to dive off her roof into a kiddie pool. Depth, maybe 8 inches. Her IQ at that moment, let's be generous and say, suspended. She stood on the edge in a bikini, waved to 3,000 live viewers, and leapt like she was diving into the Olympic trials. What followed was not a graceful splash. It was more like a Wile E. Coyote moment. Legs up, back flat, and the sound of regret echoing through the cul-de-sac. Paramedics arrived. Comments rolled in. One viewer typed, "She dead for?" Another, "Bro, the pool moved." Darwin Award, unlocked. Turns out you can't cheat physics with confidence and a ring light. Number 16. Nothing says brain power like jumping over an electric fence for clout. In Cincinnati, A 25-year-old accepted a Snapchat dare to hop one behind a cow pasture. The goal? Impress followers with her fearless energy. The result? Instant heart-stopping energy. She ran, jumped, screamed midair, and collapsed like a rag doll tossed by Zeus himself. Electric fences are designed to keep in 1,500-pound bulls. A girl in Vans doesn't stand a chance. By the time emergency responders arrived, her snap had gone viral, and so had her obituary. Reminder, if a fence hums louder than your phone, don't touch it. Clout isn't worth cardiac arrest. Number 17. Welcome to San Francisco, where the tech is smart, but the TikToks, not so much. A 30-year-old wellness vlogger decided to go ultra cool, literally, by bathing in dry ice for views. Cold therapy is the new yoga, she said. Dry ice is minus 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Her body, sadly, wasn't built for cryogenics. She slid into a tub filled with white fog and started filming. Until she went quiet. When friends checked on her, they found an influencer flash, frozen like a popsicle. EMTs arrived, confused whether this was a science experiment or a horror movie. Verdict: Darwin Award, Cryo Edition. Pro tip: if your bath fogs up like a witch's cauldron, maybe don't climb in. Number 18. Detroit, the home of Cars, Motown, and apparently DIY chainsaw sculpture. A 28-year-old art influencer decided to create a feminist tribute tree carving in her backyard. Tools of choice? One chainsaw, 0 experience, and a tripod with a ring light. Spoiler, trees aren't the only thing that got cut. Halfway through her chainsaw masterpiece, she slipped on mulch, panicked, and, well, let's say, the sculpture ended up featuring her. Her TikTok bio read fearless creative energy. Her tombstone might read bold, but not blade-proof. Darwin Award accepted. Chainsaws are not for beginners. Or backyard performance art. Use a paintbrush next time. Number 19. Las Vegas has seen its share of bad ideas, but this one lit the house on fire. A 26-year-old aspiring influencer decided indoor sky lanterns would be a vibe for her Instagram birthday livestream. Because what's more magical than open flame, paper balloons, and ceilings? She launched 5 glowing lanterns in her living room. One hit a curtain, and the rest is a smoky blur. Her phone kept filming while the fire alarm sang backup vocals. By the time she tried to escape, the flames had already claimed her decor and her Darwin Award. Indoor fireworks are like microwaving tinfoil for fun. Just don't. The only thing that should be on fire is the cake. Number 20. Just when we thought the Tide Pod Challenge was 6 feet under, Florida resurrected it, because of course. A 22-year-old in Miami decided that eating multiple Tide Pods for TikTok was the way to revive her follower count. Go big or go viral, she typed. She went both. She giggled through one pod, forced down a second, and by the third, her liver tapped out. Doctors said she had ingested the equivalent of a chemical cocktail. TikTok said, community guidelines violation. Darwin said, welcome. Look, detergent is for clothes, not for mouth challenges. If you need attention that badly, try juggling, something soft, like socks. Number 21. Deep in the heart of Houston, where summer barbecues are sacred, one 29-year-old aspiring influencer decided a propane grill just wasn't extra enough. So she created a fire show for TikTok, using extra lighter fluid, sparklers, and a leaf blower. Yes, a leaf blower. She hyped her audience. Let's make this grill go boom. And boom, it went. The tank blew, the camera flew, and she earned a Darwin Award faster than you can say safety valve. Neighbors thought it was a 4th of July preview in March. The explosion left nothing but melted tongs and a pair of designer flip-flops. Remember, grills are for burgers, not pyrotechnic ambition. Want views? Try dancing with shoes. Number 22. In the towering jungles of NYC, where rooftop selfies are the new yoga, a 27-year-old decided to elevate her content. Literally. Balancing on the railing of her 20th floor balcony for that perfect skyline shot, she struck a yoga pose and hashtagged it #fearless. Gravity disagreed. One gust of wind, one misplaced toe, and she took the express route to a Darwin Award. Onlookers below described it as sudden rain that screamed. Her phone survived. Her followers got one last story. The sound of disbelief and a tragic thud. Newsflash, railings are not catwalks. And vertical ambition shouldn't end horizontally. Number 23. In Phoenix, where the sun fries brains just as much as eggs, a 24-year-old YouTuber tried to build a homemade taser just for science. Step 1, wire it. Step 2, charge it. Step 3, test it on herself. She shouted, "Let's see what 800,000 volts feels like." The answer, cardiac arrest. That taser didn't just zap, it rebooted her central nervous system into oblivion. Her last words, "Is it on?" Spoiler, it was. There are two kinds of shocks in life, surprises and electricity. Only one should leave you breathless, metaphorically. Number 24. Inspired by the good old Ice Bucket Challenge, a 26-year-old in Cleveland decided to remix it with a TikTok twist. Instead of regular water, she mixed in dry ice for dramatic effect. Add a bucket, camera, and total disregard for safety, and you've got a frozen disaster. As she poured it over herself, the CO2 gas displaced oxygen around her. Combine that with freezing temperatures and shock, and she collapsed like a mannequin in winter mode. By the time her roommate realized the performance had gone too quiet, she'd already earned her Darwin Award. Frosty edition. Dry ice is for keeping food cold, not turning your lungs into popsicles. Chill responsibly. Number 25. Some people go to amusement parks. Others bring the amusement home. A 28-year-old in Boulder decided to build her own bungee jump for YouTube using a tree, a rope, and the kind of confidence that comes from zero physics education. She tied the cord to her waist and leapt off the second-story deck, shouting, "Send it!" Send it? She did, straight into the dirt. Turns out the bungee cord was just an elastic tie-down meant for luggage. No rebound, no slowdown, just a direct delivery to Darwin. Bungee jumping without calculations is like making a parachute out of napkins. Ambitious, but very, very final. Number 26. Magic shows usually involve rabbits, cards, or the occasional cheesy mustache. Not in Atlanta. One 25-year-old had a brilliant Snapchat idea. Create a vanishing fireball by lighting an actual gas can. Her logic? It'll look cool. Spoiler, it looked hot. Very hot. She flicked the lighter, said, "Watch this," and poof, she was the trick. Her clothes, eyebrows, and chance at survival vanished faster than your data plan in a dead zone. She achieved the rare combo of viral fame and cremation in one take. Let's be clear. Gas cans are not stage props unless your magic trick ends with abracadabra and arson. Number 27. Los Angeles, land of sunshine, stunts, and delusional TikTokers. A 27-year-old wanted to go viral with a rooftop rollerblade challenge. Because obviously, when you see a 2-story building, the first thought is, let's skate off it. Helmet? Nope. Landing plan? Nope. Just her, gravity, and a pair of neon pink blades. She hit the edge, launched like a glitter cannon, and plummeted directly into a Darwin Award. Her last words were reportedly, "Watch me fly," Gravity replied, "You wish." Here's the thing, rooftops aren't skate parks unless your goal is a full body cast and posthumous clout. Number 28. In Tampa, where summer humidity turns your pores into craters, one beauty influencer thought she'd discovered the ultimate skin treatment, a DIY acid peel. But not with lemon juice or glycolic acid. Nope. She went full mad scientist with industrial grade hydrofluoric acid. She poured it on her face for TikTok, thinking she'd go viral for flawless skin. She did go viral for a chemical burn that made her look like a melting wax figure. Within minutes, the acid had eaten through skin, tissue, and any hope of recovery. Remember, if it says protective gloves required, it's probably not a good idea to smear it across your cheekbones for views. Number 29. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the risks TikTok dancers take. A 26-year-old in Dallas climbed a billboard scaffold near power lines to record a lightning-themed dance video. And boy, did she get the electricity she asked for. She pirouetted a little too close, touched the wrong wire, and got blasted off the platform in a thunderous spark storm that ended with a very literal drop the beat. Witnesses said it was like watching someone plug themselves into a toaster. Power lines may look scenic, but they don't care about your choreography. This is not how you trend on TikTok, unless you want the hashtag #charred challenge. Number 30. Las Vegas, city of lights, bad decisions, and hair volume. A 28-year-old aspiring influencer decided to light up the strip with a hairspray fireball challenge. She held a lighter in one hand, a can of hairspray in the other, and shouted, "Let's get lit." She got lit, all right? In the way marshmallows do when you forget them over a campfire. The burst of flame blew back into her perfectly teased hair, turning her into a walking bonfire. The camera kept rolling, because of course it did, capturing the exact moment her Darwin Award combusted into existence. Hairspray is for styling, not summoning dragons. Number 1. Time zones? More like boom zones? Imagine planning something really big like synchronized car explosions. Now imagine being so bad at Google Calendar that your final moment is you blowing up because your buddy used a different time zone. That's exactly what happened to two would-be bombers who clearly skipped orientation day at Bomber U. The plan was simple. Set twin car bombs to go off simultaneously. But what they didn't account for was daylight saving time or common sense. One of them was apparently using GMT, the other was stuck on Baghdad Standard Time or whatever. The result? Premature detonation. The kind of miscommunication that doesn't just cost lives, it ends them. Let's just say the explosion was loud. The irony was louder. Number 2. 2018, England. A man at the movies dropped his phone under the seat. Normal enough, right? Most of us would either let it go or do the awkward squat and sweep maneuver. But not this guy. Oh no, he decided to go full Mission Impossible on it. He stuck his head under the electric reclining footrest of a luxury cinema seat. And surprise, it closed. His head got trapped, and while staff tried to free him, he suffered a cardiac arrest. No one expects a footrest to become a medieval torture device. But here we are. Darwin Award awarded. Moral of the story? Just wait till the end credits. And maybe next time, get popcorn instead of popcorn-sized logic. Number 3. Back in 1999, a Washington man named Rodney decided that his jet ski needed a little juice. And instead of, say, using a charger like a normal human, he went full Frankenstein. He brought live jumper cables, yes, from a car battery, and tried to charge the battery while floating in water. Did I mention he was standing in the lake? Electricity, water, and Rodney all met in one glorious moment of poor decision making. You know what doesn't mix? Electricity and water. But don't worry, he learned that instantly. Darwinism strikes again. Survival of the not totally wired. Number 4. The good old letter bomb. A classic of bad intentions. But even classics go wrong sometimes. Case in point, Kairana Jet. In 2000, this man tried to send a letter bomb to his enemies. But, plot twist, he didn't put enough postage on it. So what did the post office do? They sent it back, of course. Return to sender. When Kay received his own mystery envelope, he opened it, presumably thinking, what kind of idiot would send me a bomb? Spoiler alert, he was that idiot. He opened it. It worked. Instant karma, delivered via airmail. USPS doesn't mess around. Number 5. Picture this. A man in the US gets his hands on a pen-shaped pistol, a little James Bond gadget straight out of Q's lab. But rather than demonstrating it, he decides to prove it actually works by pointing it at his own head and pulling the trigger. Because nothing says trust me like a ballistic lobotomy. Apparently, his final words were something along the lines of, "Watch this," famous last words indeed. And with that, he officially proved the device's effectiveness and secured his place among the elite of Darwin Award lore. Spy pen, 1. Common sense, 0. Number 6. Let's talk about a trend that aged like unrefrigerated tuna. Planking. Back in 2011, the internet was obsessed with lying face down in the most ridiculous locations possible. One man in Queensland, Australia, decided that a 7-story balcony railing was the ideal place to prove his commitment to the meme. Yep, he balanced his entire body, stiff as a board, on a narrow ledge dozens of feet above ground. The goal? A killer photo to rack up likes. What he got instead? A harsh physics lesson. The railing didn't come with seatbelts or an airbag, and one shift in balance was all it took. Gravity did what gravity does best. And the internet learned, briefly, that chasing viral fame can be hazardous to your health. Number 7. Gary Allen Banning of North Carolina wasn't trying to make headlines in 2012, but fate and questionable decision-making had other plans. One evening, Gary mistook a jar of gasoline for a beverage. Now, we don't know what kind of drink he was expecting. Apple juice, moonshine, liquid regret? But he took a hearty swig. Realizing it wasn't Gatorade, he did the next logical thing. Lit a cigarette to calm his nerves. That's when the laws of chemistry came in hot. Literally. Flames erupted, and Gary became a one-man cautionary tale about why we label containers and maybe, just maybe, don't combine flammable liquids with open flames. His story is a sobering mix of confusion, combustion, and the kind of moment your science teacher warned you about. Number 8. Pedro Ruiz III, a 22-year-old from Minnesota, wanted YouTube stardom. His plan? A dramatic stunt involving a .50 caliber Desert Eagle handgun and an encyclopedia-thick book. The theory? The book would stop the bullet. The reality? It didn't. His girlfriend, who was also pregnant at the time, stood just a few feet away and filmed the stunt and pulled the trigger. Tragically, the bullet passed clean through the book and hit Pedro. The couple thought they'd tested the setup beforehand, but clearly not well enough. This was supposed to be their big viral moment, but instead it served as a grim reminder that firearms and internet clout do not mix. There are easier, safer ways to go viral. Cat videos, for instance. Number 9. Some people walk by faith. One pastor in Gabon tried walking on water by faith, literally. During a 2006 sermon, inspired perhaps by biblical stories or just an overabundance of confidence, he marched out into a local river, determined to prove that spiritual conviction could defy the laws of buoyancy. The congregation watched in awe at first, then concern, then silence. Turns out, faith can move mountains, but it doesn't make you waterproof. No flotation device, no safety net, just one man's firm belief versus the entire science of hydrodynamics. In the battle between belief and water, water won. While the intent may have been divine, the execution was, well, soggy. Number 10. Russian roulette is already a wildly bad idea. But Rashad from Texas decided to make it even riskier. Instead of using the traditional revolver, which at least gives a 1 in 6 shot, still bad odds, he chose a semi-automatic pistol. For those not familiar with gun mechanics, semi-autos automatically chamber a new round after each shot. That means every trigger pull is live. No suspense, no click, click, click. Just one pull and boom. Rashad's understanding of firearms sadly didn't match his bravado. What began as a twisted attempt at thrill-seeking ended almost immediately. Russian roulette with a semi-auto is less of a gamble and more of a guarantee, and not in the way anyone wants. Number 11. Picture this. You're at an amusement park, wind in your hair, screams in the background, and suddenly your beloved baseball cap flies off mid-ride. Tragic, right? Well, one man took this tragedy personally. After the roller coaster came to a stop, he hopped the fence marked "Do Not Enter," which is generally a clue that you should not enter, and proceeded to crawl under the guardrail to get his hat back. Unfortunately, he forgot that roller coasters have a tendency to, well, keep running. As he bent down to rescue his hat from the tracks of doom, an oncoming train of thrilled passengers came flying around the bend. Let's just say they got more thrills than they paid for. Lesson: sometimes it's okay to let the hat go. It's not worth turning your head into an extreme sports obstacle. Number 12. Michael was a man of unusual ideas. At some point in life, he decided that traditional drinking was just too mainstream. So instead of sipping wine with dinner or doing shots with friends, he decided to absorb 3 liters of sherry via enema. Yes, you read that right. He poured fortified wine where the sun don't shine, believing it would bypass his liver and give him a faster buzz. Spoiler, it did. It also bypassed every warning sign your body usually gives when you've had too much. Without the usual nausea or vomiting, Michael's body had no defense mechanism to stop the alcohol flood. The next morning, he was found by family members who were understandably horrified. If you need a moral here, don't DIY your digestive system. And for the love of Merlot, drink responsibly. Number 13. 2 private pilots in the US decided that flying a small aircraft wasn't exciting enough, so somewhere over the countryside, they put the autopilot on and started enjoying each other's company in a way that's usually reserved for the ground. When the plane failed to respond to air traffic control, a search began. Authorities later found the wreckage, and the 2 pilots, tragically deceased, partially unclothed, and tangled together in a reclined seat. Investigators concluded that their attention had been diverted. Listen, aviation requires focus. Maybe pick one activity at a time. Flying the plane, or whatever that was. Not both. Number 14. We all have questions, but some questions are better left unanswered. Like, What happens if I stick my private parts into a vacuum cleaner? This brave soul, armed with curiosity and a lack of common sense, decided to find out. Now, most vacuums come with rotating blades and suction powerful enough to clean your carpet and your common sense. Apparently, he found out that his particular model did, in fact, have spinning blades just behind the suction nozzle. A few seconds later, emergency services were involved. Let's just say the repair bill wasn't the only thing that was permanently damaged. Curiosity didn't just kill the cat, it maimed the man. Note to humanity, household appliances are not for personal exploration. Number 15. Two men in the mood for some char-grilled deliciousness decided it was time for a backyard BBQ. But when their charcoal started to smolder a little too early, instead of extinguishing it, or say, waiting, they thought it was a brilliant idea to toss the flaming grill into the back of their pickup truck. You know, a moving vehicle made of metal, filled with flammable upholstery. They figured they could just drive down the road real quick to get more charcoal. Unfortunately, their traveling inferno ignited mid-journey, turning their truck into a flaming advertisement for why grilling and driving do not mix. Both were injured, the truck was toast, and the neighborhood got an unexpected fireworks show. So if you've ever wondered whether it's a good idea to put a live fire into a moving vehicle, it's not. It's really, really not. Number 16. Demolition work? Now that's a job where having a plan is kinda important. You're literally dealing with gravity and very heavy things that don't bounce. But one construction worker apparently skipped that memo. His mission? Tear down a parking garage. His mistake? Taking out the final support beam without bothering to check what would happen next. Spoiler, Newton's laws of motion did exactly what they were supposed to. The remaining concrete, which had been politely waiting for a reason to collapse, immediately obliged. The worker, standing directly under the problem area, was instantly buried under a mess of steel and debris. It's like Jenga, but with cement and absolutely no winners. The lesson? If you remove the one thing holding up the building, you better already be halfway to the exit. Or number 17. Ah, yes, ancient remedies, nature's medicine. But here's one that should have stayed a myth. Using live animals to treat constipation. Specifically, a 19-inch eel inserted, you know where? A man suffering from digestive delays decided to try an alternative cure that apparently circulated online or among questionable circles. He believed that inserting a slippery live creature might somehow stimulate the system. What it stimulated was a frantic medical emergency. The eel did not stay put. It did not work as advertised. And the situation, unsurprisingly, went downhill fast. This is what happens when Google search results include folklore from fish tanks. Let this be a message to all DIY health enthusiasts. If your cure involves sea life and a flashlight, just no. Number 18. Meet a man who learned that not all liquids are created equal. One day, his car needed brake fluid. Instead of going to the store, he looked around the kitchen and thought, hey, this dish soap is kinda slick. Probably close enough. Close enough to a tragic disaster? Yes. He poured in the detergent, got in his car, and confidently rolled onto the road. Turns out dish soap is not great at stopping a 3,000-pound vehicle. Who could have guessed? When he hit the brakes, nothing happened. Just the smooth, soapy glide of a car ignoring your commands. The vehicle crashed, and the outcome was as grim as it was dumb. So, next time you're tempted to substitute auto fluids with pantry supplies, maybe call a mechanic. Or at least someone who knows how to spell automotive. Number 19. Picture it. Interstate 80, heavy traffic, and two drivers who apparently thought the shoulder was their courtroom. A minor fender bender turned into a full blown soap opera when both men exited their vehicles on a live highway to debate who was at fault. Because clearly, arguing in the path of speeding cars is the most logical next step. Eyewitnesses say the exchange quickly escalated from finger pointing to full on shouting match as drivers honked and swerved around them. But real life doesn't come with commercial breaks. And before either man could realize their mistake, traffic took a fatal turn. Both were hit by oncoming cars. Let's be blunt. If you treat a freeway like your living room, the consequences can be fast and unforgiving. Rule of thumb: let the insurance handle it. They're paid for drama. Number 20. Changing a light bulb. Simple, right? But what if that bulb is mounted 30 feet above the warehouse floor, and all you have is a forklift and boundless optimism? One warehouse worker decided to MacGyver his way to illumination. Lacking a proper ladder or lift, he climbed on top of the forklift, held a bulb in one hand, and probably muttered YOLO in Japanese. As coworkers watched in disbelief, he lost balance and fell a full 10 meters to the hard ground below. No harness, no platform, just a guy trying to fix a bulb with the grace of a circus acrobat and the planning skills of a sitcom character. Ironically, the light bulb was never changed, but he did give everyone around him a very illuminating lesson in workplace safety. If OSHA had a bingo card, this would be the center square. Number 21. You know what's better than smoking? Literally anything else. But one British woman couldn't wait for her coach bus to pull over. As the vehicle cruised at 60 miles per hour down the motorway, she leaned out the window to light up, channeling the energy of a rebellious teen in a 90s movie. Only difference? This wasn't a movie. The wind, the speed, and the physics had their own plans. She lost her balance and was pulled out of the window like a napkin in a tornado. The coach kept rolling, the cigarette unlit, and the lesson painfully clear. If your nicotine craving can't wait until the next rest stop, maybe reconsider your priorities, or at least invest in some patches. Number 22. Meet the bank robber who skipped Ocean's 11 and went straight for Looney Tunes. In Belgium, a man attempted a good old-fashioned dynamite robbery, clearly inspired by cartoons and zero engineering knowledge. His goal? Blow open the facade of a small bank to gain access. His miscalculation? Everything. The dynamite wasn't precisely placed, the support structure wasn't understood, and the universe wasn't impressed. When the fuse was lit, the building responded with, "Nope!" and the entire front collapsed on him. He didn't even make it inside. Somewhere, Wile E. Coyote nodded in solemn respect. Pro tip: if your plan involves explosives and zero math, maybe just stick to scratch-off tickets. Number 23. Let's pivot to a more bureaucratic kind of brilliance. A man already serving time for serious crimes decided he hadn't gotten enough attention. So what did he do? He sent a detailed letter to the prosecutor, bragging about a previous murder he'd gotten away with. That's right, he confessed, in writing, voluntarily. The letter had details that weren't public, so the court had all they needed. That move turned a life sentence into a fast track to capital punishment. He sealed his fate with a postage stamp and a fountain pen. If you're ever wondering whether gloating by mail is a good idea, here's your answer. Silence may not win friends, but it sure keeps you breathing. Number 24. Every year, Spain's bull running festivals attract thrill seekers, adrenaline junkies, and apparently Darwin Award hopefuls. One man equipped with a phone, an ego, and no respect for personal safety, decided the event wasn't exciting enough. So, while others followed the designated route behind the barriers, he jumped inside the path to snap a selfie with the bulls. Yes, actual bulls with horns, speed, and zero interest in influencer culture. He wanted the shot of a lifetime. And well, he got it. Just not the way he expected. The bulls weren't flattered and charged him like he owed them money. The lesson here? Wildlife doesn't do content creation. And if your phone pic requires outrunning angry hooved animals, it's probably not worth it. Number 1. Toronto, Canada. A man on a high-rise penthouse balcony looked out and thought, you know what needs cleaning? That bird feeder 2 feet outside the railing. Armed with nothing but socks, confidence, and an overestimation of his core strength, he leaned out to scrub it. Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but birds do not care about your penthouse view. They poop on statues. They'll be fine. But this guy, he discovered what happens when your balance checks out faster than your judgment. 23 stories is a long way to reflect on life choices. Next time, just use binoculars and wave at the birds. It's safer, and you still look generous. Number 2. Some criminals break into stores with stealth, others with strategy. And then there's this guy in the UK who went with brute force and no brain. He hurls a heavy cinder block at a liquor store's display window. But surprise! That glass was actually reinforced plexiglass. The same material used to keep hockey players from flying into the audience. The block bounced back with the grace of a boomerang and connected squarely with his own face. The CCTV footage? Absolute poetry. It's like the glass said, no thanks, and the universe agreed. Imagine getting knocked out by your own crime. That's not theft. That's instant karma in HD. It's number 3. You've probably heard the phrase forbidden island. It's usually a metaphor, not this time. This man decided he was on a mission, a literal missionary, and traveled to North Sentinel Island, home to one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth, despite very public warnings, like from governments. He went ashore to spread his message. The tribe? Yeah, they're not big on visitors, or Google calendars, or missionaries. They have a proud, ancient tradition, absolute privacy. And they've made it pretty clear over the years that they want nothing to do with the outside world. Still, this guy pushed ahead. It was less God's work and more nature's nope. If your travel destination comes with the phrase will likely result in your eternal disconnection, maybe stick to Airbnb. Number 4. There is a special kind of confidence that comes with live streaming your every move, especially while hiking Japan's Mount Fuji in the snow, alone. This guy decided the internet needed to see his snowy adventure in real time. What they got instead? A shaky point of view of someone sliding faster than a greased bowling pin down a mountain slope. He was narrating the trek, describing the beautiful view. And then, boom, the camera tilts. Snow rushes past, and his voice gets replaced by awkward silence and gravity doing its thing. Spoiler: Mount Fuji's livestream package doesn't come with airbags. If your winter hike starts to look like an Olympic luge event, it's time to log off and hold on. Number 5. Weddings in India are colorful, joyful, and apparently, occasionally, airborne. During a wedding celebration in 2020, an overcrowded bus was turned into a double-decker. Not by design, but by sheer willpower. Guests decided the roof was the VIP section, because who doesn't want wind-blown hair and a panoramic view of electrical wires? Unfortunately, the power lines weren't on the guest list. Several passengers made contact mid-ride. Let's just say sparks flew, but not the romantic kind. Moral of the story, gravity plus voltage equals zero chill. If your bus looks like a scene from Cirque du Soleil, maybe just wait for the next one. Number 6. Some people celebrate with fireworks, others integrate them. This adventurous fellow decided to turn his body into a 4th of July centerpiece. He placed firecrackers in a place where, let's just say, the sun doesn't shine and logic definitely doesn't reach. Was it a dare? A YouTube challenge gone wrong? A moment of deeply misguided patriotism? We may never know. What we do know is that the firecrackers lit up more than the night. Let this serve as a warning. When it comes to fireworks, close to the action does not mean that close. Number 7. Ah, yes, the ultimate party flex. Dry ice in a swimming pool. Sounds cool, looks like a movie, ends like a cautionary tale from high school science class. In Russia, a birthday party took a sharp turn from festive to foggy. Someone dumped a large amount of dry ice into a heated indoor pool. Here's the thing. Dry ice isn't just cold fog. It's solid carbon dioxide, and when it meets water, it releases CO2 gas, displacing oxygen. So while partygoers thought they were making Insta-worthy clouds, the real magic trick was turning breathable air into a chemistry test gone wrong. Next time, just go with a fog machine. Less science, more safety. Number 8. Let's talk about romance, candlelight dinners, walks on the beach. Or, if you're this couple, pulling over in the middle lane of a live freeway for some private time. Yes, in a move that redefines the term love on the run, this duo parked their car in a highway lane and got very comfortable. Spoiler alert, freeways aren't private, or safe, or romantic. They were caught, not by police, but by a fast-moving truck. No word on whether they were listening to Highway to the Danger Zone, but it would have been on theme. Here's a tip. If the love is real, it can wait until after rush hour. Number 9. Darwin, Australia, where the wildlife doesn't play games. A guy, fueled by adrenaline, and maybe other things, decided to go for a midnight swim in croc-infested waters. Equipped with nothing but a snorkel, a headlamp, and zero common sense. He dove in like it was a private lagoon. Locals watching from the shore probably said the Aussie version of, "Mate, you're bonkers." Luckily, no crocs showed up. Maybe even they didn't want that kind of drama at midnight. This time, nature hit snooze. But he really flirted with a reptilian RSVP. Rule of thumb in Australia, if it's wet and warm, assume it bites. Number 10. Okay, so you've got a mole problem in your backyard. You could call pest control. Or if you're this inventive soul, go full mad scientist with high voltage metal rods. That's right. The plan was to electrocute the pests underground. The plan didn't include understanding how electricity works. So he jams the rods into the soil, flips the switch, and surprise! The moles weren't the only ones getting a shocking experience. We're not saying the guy lit up like a Christmas tree, but let's just say Mother Nature played Uno reverse with 220 volts. Lesson: if your mole removal method sounds like something from a Bond villain's garage, maybe reconsider. Number 11. Imagine trying to throw dynamite out a car window, except the window is closed, and then actually doing it. That's what happened when this brilliant couple decided to dispose of a lit stick of dynamite during a drive. Now, throwing dynamite is already a why though moment. Doing it without rolling down the window? That's next level oversight. So instead of the dramatic movie scene they were probably imagining, they created a mobile hotbox of regret. Reminder for the day: if your escape plan involves throwing explosives, make sure the glass isn't in the way. Number 12. Some stunts just scream, "Hold my drink." This one yelled it from the top of a bridge. A man, reportedly feeling both fearless and slightly fermented, decided to DIY a bungee jump using a lineman's cable. The kind used for power lines, not surviving drops. There was no safety gear, no calculations, just confidence and a misunderstanding of gravity. When he jumped, the cable didn't bounce, it yanked. Limbs were rearranged like IKEA furniture with no manual. The aftermath was reportedly life altering in the way that makes you reconsider everything. In short, leave bungee cords to professionals and keep your bridges for sightseeing. Number 13. Who needs a pilot's license when you've got imagination and duct tape? This guy showed up at the Eiffel Tower with a homemade wingsuit. You read that right. Homemade. No official testing. No engineers. Just vibes. He leapt from the iconic landmark, fully expecting to soar over Paris like a majestic flying squirrel. Unfortunately, his DIY wingsuit worked about as well as wet cardboard in a hurricane. Gravity, being the ever-consistent force, brought him down with ruthless efficiency. Important takeaway. If your flying suit was assembled in a basement using camping gear, maybe don't launch from international landmarks. Number 14. Human plunger washing machine meets. Why would you ever? This one lives rent-free in the dark corner of Reddit. A man, for reasons known only to himself and possibly his browser history, attempted to use a washing machine and a plunger for personal exploration. Yes, you heard that correctly. This wasn't laundry. This was experimentation. Let's leave it at that. Suffice to say, machines designed to wash socks do not double as adult wellness devices. The result was so bizarre that even ER staff were reportedly speechless. Pro tip: if your Saturday night plan involves any appliance with a spin cycle and suction, maybe just read a book instead. Or go outside, touch grass, don't become a Reddit legend for all the wrong reasons. Number 15. So here's a fun experiment. Take a guy who's absolutely convinced the government is reading his thoughts and drop him into the middle of a thunderstorm. Wearing a tinfoil hat? Yes, tinfoil. On his head? During a lightning storm. It's unclear what he was trying to block. Microwaves? Aliens? 5G? But he definitely forgot to account for one thing. Lightning is a fan of metal. Let's just say Earth decided to make a counter-argument with a bit of atmospheric drama. Next time, maybe wear rubber boots and keep your theories indoors. Number 16. Some people barbecue in their backyard. Some use a grill. And then there's this guy who brought lit charcoal into his car to enjoy the warmth and maybe the smell of smoky sausages. He apparently thought, what could go wrong? Well, carbon monoxide for one. The invisible, odorless gas that says, you've made a terrible life choice. He fell asleep with the windows up and the coals blazing. Imagine trying to camp in your sedan, but turning it into a gas chamber. Let this be a lesson. Tailgating is fine, but tailgating inside your vehicle with live coals? Maybe not the best flavor profile. Number 17. This tale comes straight from the land of tea and tragedy, our dear friends in the UK. A teen working in a butcher shop noticed a jammed meat grinder and decided to fix it. Without turning it off first, you can probably guess how that ended. Let's just say, next time you're dealing with a machine full of spinning blades, the off button is your best friend. Or maybe just let the guy with the toolbox handle it. Also, if the job description includes the words rotate and sharp, maybe don't wing it. Number 18. Scotland, 2023. A hotel guest was enjoying a peaceful evening on a wooden bench. Birds chirping, light breeze, absolute serenity. Then, snap. The bench collapsed like a poorly written alibi. But instead of a simple fall and an awkward moment, the guest got wedged between the splintered remains, pinned down in what can only be described as planking involuntary addition. It took a full team to extract him from the wood sandwich. No major harm done, but the bruise to his ego? That one might still be healing. Note to hotels, maybe test the furniture with something heavier than a decorative pillow. Number 19. Sometimes food bites back. In the UK, 2019, a man ordered a fish cake fresh from the fryer. He took a massive bite, ignoring all signs of steam and sizzle, and immediately got hit with what scientists call lava mouth. He choked mid-bite, panicked, and managed to both burn his mouth and lose control of breathing. The moral of the story? Let the fish cake cool. Seriously, just give it a minute. If it's still bubbling like a volcano, maybe don't inhale it like it's air. Burnt pride is easier to recover from than spontaneous scalding. Number 20. June 2025, New Jersey. A lifeguard got into an epic duel with a beach umbrella. It started harmless. A gust of wind blew the umbrella loose. He chased it. It turned into a scene straight out of an action movie. Sand flying, people ducking, the umbrella twisting through the air like a medieval spear. He caught it. It caught him back. Yes, the umbrella impaled him, but don't worry, he walked it off with style and a tetanus shot. Lesson? Windy beaches are no place for umbrella fencing. Bring a tent, or better anchors. Or maybe just stay inside and let Mother Nature win this round. Number 21. Let's kick this off with a man who decided to live his life like he was trapped in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Picture this. He sets up an old school anvil. Yes, the big heavy thing they drop in cartoons, right above his head secured by a rope. Then, like a true cowboy from a mid-budget spaghetti western, he grabs a revolver and starts spinning it on his finger. Because clearly, the only thing missing from this genius-level plan was physics. And maybe a helmet. Now, whether the trigger got pulled or the spin knocked something loose, the result was instant. That anvil obeyed gravity like a loyal golden retriever. Straight down, direct contact. Face met metal in a moment that probably felt like a steel high five from Wile E. Coyote. Moral of the story? If your plan includes the sentence, "I'll just stand under this anvil," maybe don't. Number 22. Next, we head to Australia, because where else would someone think, hey, I bet I can wrestle that prehistoric rage chicken? This guy spots a cassowary, one of nature's most aggressive birds, guarding some fruit. Instead of, say, walking away slowly and respecting nature's boundaries, he goes full. WWE. Now, cassowaries don't do wrestling. They do one thing, ruin your day, with legs built like velociraptors and claws that scream bad decision. What followed was not a majestic struggle for dominance. It was a fast and feathery reminder that maybe fruit isn't worth challenging Big Bird's mean cousin. Lesson learned? If the animal you're messing with looks like it survived the asteroid, let it keep the snack. Number 23. Now let's talk about a man, a wood chipper, and a brilliant idea that absolutely no one with common sense would try. Instead of feeding tree branches into the machine with his hands like a normal person, this guy thinks, hey, I'll just kick them in. Faster and more dramatic. Cue the wet grass, the slippery shoes, and gravity whispering. One wrong move and he goes head over heels, straight toward the danger zone. You'd think the sound of grinding machinery would signal, maybe don't lean in. But apparently, that message didn't land. There's a reason wood chippers are not used in yoga studios. They are not part of anyone's wellness journey. Number 24. Imagine being so tired you can't tell the difference between morning coffee and household toxins. Enter a Redditor who just wanted a caffeine fix at 3 a.m. But instead of grabbing instant coffee, he scooped a similar looking powder from a container next to it, one labeled rat control. He made a full cup, took a sip, and immediately thought, tastes a little chemically. You don't say? Luckily, it was a small amount, and he realized the mix up before things got worse. Let this be a lesson to us all. Tired brains and unlabeled containers do not mix, especially when the result tastes like cleaning fluid and regret. Number 25. You know what's better than being safe in a moving car? Apparently, dangling out the window at 70 miles per hour to record a Snapchat? This UK daredevil thought it'd be hilarious to lean halfway out of a speeding car on the M25, one of the busiest highways in Britain, just to capture that perfect look at me moment. Unfortunately, the laws of physics were not impressed. The wind caught him like an unpaid Uber ride, and, well, the ground came up fast. Other drivers were understandably horrified. Meanwhile, his phone probably captured the entire thing, though not quite the way he expected. Morale: if you're filming a video that ends with people screaming, "What were they thinking?" maybe just don't film it. Number 26. Now, here's a Reddit legend that lives on in the Why Just Why Hall of Fame. A man, having apparently binge-watched way too much Animal Planet, decided to defang a giant metalworm-looking creature with his foot. That's right, no gloves, no shoes, no sense. He thought applying foot pressure would calm it down. The worm had other plans. The result? Let's just say he wasn't exactly able to leave a Yelp review for this spa treatment. Let this be a reminder. If the animal you're massaging belongs in a sci-fi horror film, it doesn't want reflexology. It wants you gone.